This is the Celtic Exchange Weekly. This is Tino, and tonight I'm joined by Miff, James and Paddy as we cover all things Celtic. Miff, bad day at the office against Motherwell on Saturday. Who are you blaming for that one?
Hello Tino, hello Paddy, hello James, hello listeners and viewers.
I thought you were going to forget it there.
Who am I blaming? Probably the players to start, because they just weren't very good, but then mitigating circumstances, being away for the international break, we just seem to play at their own pace, so you could maybe blame the manager a bit for that. But ultimately it's the fact that we've got so many numbers in the squad, a lot of players but not a lot of quality. Even though there are some injuries there, I still think in the wide areas, Palma's late back and looked leggy practically all the game, but you've not really got him that you can turn to with so much of the game left to try and turn it. And with the greatest of respect to like Mikey Johnson, even Yang himself, who had a good game against Aberdeen but was really poor against Motherwell, we should be in a position to bring better on. It's not that's not necessarily a dig at Mikey Johnson as such. He's trying to find his way back in. I mean, he's been launched into a couple of really dicey positions, which I think is a bit unfair. Yang's not backed up the Aberdeen performance, so I would say the recruitment department carry the majority they can, because we've just not seen good enough quality.
Yeah, I was laughing. I done the post match with Joe and I quoted a tweet from Celtic First account, and he was basically saying that in the couple of hours after the game, everyone had been blamed, whether it was the manager, the players, the recruitment team you've mentioned, Peter Lawwell, Green Brigade, Rod Stewart. They're all in the mix.
Fantastic.
The irony, we had a wee laugh there about Rod Stewart. So he's obviously come in, James. He's had to walk or run the gauntlet as such, with the Green Brigade waiting outside from. Don't think they're close pals at this moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously there's a chance about Rod Stewart being a Tory, this, that and next thing. And I think he's given them the middle fingers whilst wearing a £500 pair of Ralph Lauren gloves.
Belters, man.
Which is nice.
Belters. To show that he's not a Tory at all.
Yeah. Who do you blame? Do you blame Rod?
Are we getting into the Rod thing now?
Nah, there's nothing to get into.
Aye.
We're not going to do a full hour on Rod Stewart, are we?
Is that one of the specials we'll do this week? I take it cover up. Manager's got to carry a decent amount that they can. I think I was saying in the kind of Lazio preview that I think he has got an eye on that on Saturday, and that's affected his setup, which is not the Celtic way. You've got to take care of your league business and all that stuff. But I think Rodgers is saying, we're not out here of the Champions League. I want to give us every chance of getting through. So I think there's a part of that. There's a bit of the international break, the break of momentum, a lot of things. But at the end of the day, there was players on the park there more than good enough of beating a alright, stodgy, negative Motherwell team. But they should be able to take care of that, no bother. So at the end of the day, resting the players. Yeah,
Paddy, both those points that James makes can be true in terms of you can rest players. So he's rested Alistair Johnston, started Tony Ralston. He's played Palma, whilst Palma won't feature because of his suspension against Lazio. So he's made a couple of moves with Tuesday in mind. Celtic should be able to make any number of moves domestically and take care of Motherwell at home while still looking forward to Tuesday nights against Lazio.
Last season, I just don't think we're near that quality this season. Anyone that's coming in at the moment, we're still pretty unsure. I think we would all agree with that. I think the performance against Aberdeen was promising in terms of those that are sitting on the bench. Are they champing a bit to try and get in and stake a claim? But I also I think there is an element of blame on quite a few, to be honest. I think if we look at our business in the summer, we look at the baffling decision to take Kyogo off when you're chasing a goal on Saturday, for me was a tough one, and that's another thing that makes me think he is thinking about Tuesday. But also you just look at what you're up against as well. Mm-hmm. That is Scottish football in a nutshell. We've not actually seen it, for me, that bad this season as a team, just sitting in and just hoping. It was so slow. The amount of minutes, someone put out a brilliant tweet. They said that imagine we added on the same amount of minutes to what the way the Premier League's been doing for time wasting. We'd be there for another 90 minutes.
Aye.
On Saturday. I think that we need to. Kelly, honestly, he's worth a punt for a booking every game against us. He does it every single time. That's an easy excuse, but it is something. It definitely for me plays a part.
excuse me, it's all, there's lots contained within it. I think the performances at home this season have been pretty turgid, to be honest with you. I think that we've been quite pedestrian at times, but it can't be ignored, the role that opposition teams play in that, around the really cynical tactics. And I think there's only been one ref in the St Mirren game, I can't remember who it was, that actually dealt with it quite early on.
John Beaton.
Motherwell, was it Beaton? He actually dealt with it the rest of the times. And we, as a team, are poor. We should be a lot more demonstrative around the referee.
I totally agree.
We are very passive.
On all things.
It's totally, I get being respectful of officials and things like that, but if, it's more than adequate to ask for a booking to be given when someone is picking the ball up deliberately, jogging really slowly across to the opposite end of their box to take a free kick. You can wave them as many times as you want. It's only by booking it. If the ref had booked one of the Motherwell players early doors because he actually had the chance, somebody booted the ball away, stone wall, yellow card, every day of the week. Every day of the week, he gets a talking to. That sets the tone to say, right, we can stretch this here. So he's had his turn, then another player has a turn, and then O'Donnell actually was wrongfully booked because he actually batted the ball back to somebody that was going to take the throw, but he got booked for it because the ref had backed his into a corner.
Bizarrely, I think there was some sort of directive though at the start of the season to cut out. You can't, flash the imaginary yellow card at the ref nowadays to get your opposition booked. It is designed in the interest of sportsmanship, but actually, all Celtic and teams like Celtic would be looking to do against teams that are parking the bus is to get the game back up and running. But now this new directive stops you from doing that as well. There's so many things going on. There's some kind of VAR chat we'll get into a bit later on. I'm absolutely scunnered with the modern game. There's so many things that are killing me.
But you can look at it, of all the things that Scottish football says, we can't do that, we haven't got the budget for that, and blah, 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 blah. Do you want to play football? Because that's how you start playing football, is cutting that out and just say, right, so say the goalie's at it first minute, referee goes, says, that's fine, next one's a booking.
Aye.
And see if it happens again, you get him his booking, next one's a red card. You'll be done in 10 minutes, and the game will start to flow from there.
Or you do as Paddy says and just literally add on the time that's been wasted and just say, right, okay, if you want to take 2 minutes for every bye kick, that's fine. For every bye kick, I'll be adding 2 minutes.
So that's a broader thing. Wenger's idea of having 35, 40-minute games and every single minute, every single second gets added on of the ball dead or ball out of play, But then players' unions are saying players are playing 100 and 110-minute games and all that kind of stuff, and there's a lot of games to be played.
I think you kind of go with it. Like, if you look at the referees that are of the opinion, they want to let the game flow. If a team is directly not allowing that to happen, book their players. Their players. It stops there and then.
What you see in this country is the players do get booked on the 87th minute.
Every time, man.
Doesn't matter. The game's done and
the job's done.
They've played their game. To get back to the bigger picture, Celtic-wise, so obviously disappointing to lose at the weekend, but we've now won 11 of our 14 league games. Is there always a danger of overreacting to results like this, or is this just what we do, Muff?
I think it's more performance for me. Had we, it's pretty much a given we'll have north of 70% possession at home, so it's what you do with that that's going to be the key. I just felt we were happy to move the ball into wide areas and do absolutely nothing with it at the weekend, and that's the more worrying thing for me. Obviously Hatate's a big miss, but still, even at that, it's based on the squad that we have. It's the squad that we have can only really play that way, and you reverse it and say, right, well, how have they played in Europe? They've actually played quite well, but they've probably played quite well in Europe because they've had space to play in. They can hit teams in the counter. They can, they can play in a different way. The game's got a different tempo. It's just, you spend a lot of money on a season ticket. You go wanting to be entertained, but sometimes you just can't be because there's, the other team, St Johnstone were pretty much the same as well, and they earned a point as well. So the unfortunate thing for us is it's showing teams the blueprint. If you want to come away from Celtic Park with a point, if you play like this, you've actually got a good chance of getting away with something. So our inability to break it down is actually encouraging teams to play like that, so it becomes a bit self-fulfilling. For me, it all just goes back to, we spend a lot of money on wingers who don't beat players.
Yeah,
Say
it.
I'm not saying it.
Mikey
I
Johnson.
will not say his name.
Mikey Johnson.
Get his name out of your mouth.
I know what you mean. I think that it's a big risk that we seem to be just continuously coming up against teams like this season upon season upon season. And the thing for me that was different under Ange was that we were blowing these teams out the water as soon as we possibly could.
Your goals in the first 15 minutes,
massive.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they need to come out. They need to do something. They're not going to sit and try and keep the result pretty. Whereas this is the only thing I would say that is different under Rodgers. It's more patience. It's more game management in the sense of like tactically I'm better. Tactically we will beat them. But he does not have the quality at the moment, and that's the big worry. When if we are looking ahead to the game on Tuesday and he's thinking, well, hang on, yeah, I'm going to play Palma, I'm going to rest Alistair Johnston. He's clever in the sense, I mentioned this last week, I do think it's of the thinking of we could win here tomorrow night, and I generally think we can win tomorrow night, but how do I make sure my team's fully fit for it? Because they were knackered after Atletico Madrid, and they were knackered after Lazio as well. So he's thinking, I need the freshest squad possible, but the backup quality is not there. That is our biggest problem at the moment.
You make a good point, Paddy, about Brendan Rodgers plays in a certain way, and I don't think he's changed it too much throughout his managerial career. He's got quite an attacking style, but it's quite a patient and in control attacking style, as opposed to Ange's more gung-ho type approach. But I remember we were chatting during the week to some fellas that are in our group chat who are from Ireland. They were talking about Stephen Kenny at the Republic of Ireland, who's now lost his job, and they said, but to be fair to him, he still stuck with his principles throughout and played the way he wanted to play. That's fine if you've got the players. Everyone wants to play like Barcelona 92 and teams like that, but see, if you've not got the quality on offer, you can't just say, well, that's how I play and I'm sticking with it. And I think that chimes true with Brendan Rodgers. He wants to play in a certain way, but he maybe doesn't have the wingers to do so. He maybe lacks the creative midfielder to do so. He maybe lacks the powerful centre forward to do so. I'm not sure, but there's individuals that he doesn't have. Yeah, he's continuing to play the way he is, and it's little wonder he ended up getting results like we did at Saturday.
Yeah, I think that I generally believe that there might be another result like that in this month coming as well. I do. I think that he sees this as like a last throw at the dice in terms of getting that elusive Champions League win that we're crying out for at home, especially. I know we're away tomorrow.
We definitely won't get it tomorrow.
We won't get it tomorrow, sadly. But no, I think that there's that, but there's also just that element of he knows. I think he's very clever in exposing. I think he's very clever in letting the board see this is what I'm working with. I think he done that at the end of his tenure last time. Did we respond to it? No, you got Oliver Burke on loan, and that was the end of that chapter.
Didn't see that one coming tonight.
But I'm just giving that like explanation. We're working with a very, very good manager in my opinion, and we're serving him up utter tosh.
Yeah, we'll get to
not McKinley.
We'll get to various other things as we move through. I just want to finish on the Motherwell stuff for now, though, with their equalising goal, which really is painful viewing. Take away the fact that Celtic give away a cheap free kick, which leads to Liam Kelly booming it diagonally, where Tony Ralston loses a header, and then it's floating about. I think Callum McGregor panics and puts out for a corner.
Absolute panic. I was right behind it. It's absolute panic.
And I thought Scales was poor as well.
Yep. Yeah, he lost a challenge. And at the time, I was thinking it was panicky. Before they took the corner, I thought that's unnecessary. You can deal with that. You know the whole cliche about teams are at their most vulnerable as soon as they lose a goal. You see it so often. Within 5 minutes of scoring a goal, a team then concedes. Celtic's players absolutely know that. Callum McGregor certainly knows it, and the manager does. So surely there's a focus for 5-10 minutes just to keep the head, keeping in mind how close we were at the final whistle at that time, and just show a wee bit of savvy, a bit of composure. For McGregor, I mean, he threw the old right boot at it. Your panicky stuff for a corner. And Callum McGregor's been debated a wee bit recently as well. And I think that was panic. And I think he's got far more quality. And I think Callum McGregor of a couple of years ago doesn't panic in that way. So that's an issue for me. Then the corner comes in. Pad, I'm going to come to you for the goalies union chat because Joe Hart's pretty solid in terms of being a shot stopper. He's good at one-on-ones. He can save the odd penalty. But this is a ball that's come in, and by the time John Obika gets the head on it, I think it's 4 yards out. So if it's 8 or 12 or further out, you can argue that your centre-half score for that instead of your goalie. When it comes out the sky around about 4 yards out, he must be claiming that.
He's nowhere near it. I've said already again on this show, and I don't like the told you so pattern. I'm not a fan of that at all.
But you're going to say it.
Aye.
But I told you so. No, I think he's got to be not replacing at the end of this season. We've got to be looking for a replacement in January, 100%. And he's going to cost us more goals.
And you saying that person should be our goalie finishing the season, or someone to bed in to start next season?
Should be a starter.
Right, okay.
Yeah, he's got to be somebody that's at least a worthwhile option if your number one's not doing it. If I've came to Paddy for the goalie chat, I want to come at you for the defending Greg Taylor chat. Go for it.
No, I don't think you can. I don't think you can defend Greg Taylor. I don't think you can defend the goalkeeper. It's just really, really poor. Really poor at the best of times, but even more so when you've fought so hard and the attackers have fought so hard to get a goal in the game, which was a stuffy game. The least you expect is your defenders to be able to defend a fairly routine corner. You know, it's not like it's been whipped in with any particular venom. It's just a sort of floated corner.
Yep.
And it's a good, decent corner. I'm not trying to talk down the delivery as such, but just it's one you would expect to deal with, and for whatever reason nobody's taking responsibility in there. But I would also question why Greg Taylor's even marking.
You've got versus man to man.
What a mismatch.
No one's on the back post as well. Back post defender clears it.
Yeah,
you know?
you just wonder what the approach is, what the system is. There must be something. It's not it's not random, but it must be.
I think they're bad at attacking and defending corners.
Is it a quick escape? Is it a quick getaway in the break maybe? Is that the thinking?
I said at the game, Guy Allen that sits next to me, Guy for Paisley, great guy, and I said we just don't score for corners. We don't score for corners, and you're so nervy when we're defending them. It's just a really bad.
Not even corners. See if somebody gets a free kick in the halfway line, we're panicking.
Aye, and the worst part of the goal for me was Joe Hart's starfish. That was just
it was actually an excellent starfish, but it's not what you want to be doing.
It wasn't really required at the time. Just go and catch the ball would have been much better.
Yeah.
It was just horrendous. It was so poor and scrappy, and oh man, you've worked so hard in that game to get the goal. Excellent penalty for David Turnbull, considering it
Really good.
Excellent penalty. You know, after everything that had happened, Yang's header. I mean, oh jeez, man, it was just a bad. Listen, we've not been beaten. We're always prone to overreaction, but for me, the level of performance, take the Aberdeen game away, if you look at the home performances, they've not been great.
They've been a wee bit few and far between as well, though, to be honest, Miff. And I think that the ones that we've had at the beginning of the season is a team trying to find their feet. I wouldn't be too critical on the home performances, considering the unbeaten run that we've got at Celtic Park, but I don't think it's not it's not season ticket money worthy. I get what you're saying.
That's my issue is. I mean, I was just bored. I was bored.
We're not being entertained the way we have been under Ange, and I think that something needs to give. I think it's all good having little quips about them across the road at our AGM. Ultimately,
I thought that absolutely stunk, man.
This is
talk about tone deaf.
It appeased the full room, though. That's the worrying thing as well. It's wild.
That's saying we know what's going on and we're doing nothing about it. Gives your money.
Yeah,
big time.
It goes back to that whole look at them. They're rotten. We'll just stay in front of them. No,
it does buy into that narrative.
I want more than that. And I don't apologise for it. I want us to be better than that.
It's the smugness of it all as well, so self-satisfied.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll catch that and various other topics just as we move on. Just some small updates before we do kick on. So the final whistle show for the Motherwell game was recorded on Saturday night after the game. That was between myself and Joe. You can listen to that right now at the Celtic Exchange Plus. We've also recorded our countdown to kick off for the Lazio game already, and like this very show you're listening to, that'll be made available here on Monday night. And then, as always, we'll be back with the final whistle show shortly after Celtic's 2-0 win in Rome. So one to look forward to, Miff. Just to move on from Motherwell as such, but certainly staying with Celtic and league duty. So obviously Rangers failing to capitalise on Sunday mean that we maintain the 8-point gap at the top of the table. James, are you concerned though that, as Paddy has mentioned, that we might slip up in the coming weeks and create a genuine title race when it looked like we were already going to start stretching away?
I think off the ball we could drop points to take Paddy's point. They are a very bad football team. Watched them yesterday. I thought Aberdeen were honking, by the way. Watched them yesterday. No cutting edge, no penetration. That's more likely a saving grace. But mathematically, you're not in a comfy position. 8 points is, call it 5 game in hand if you're going to be generous. You've got plenty of games against them coming up. So I put it this way, if I was in their shoes, I'd be thinking that's well catchable, until it's mathematically impossible, all that stuff. So we need to dig in and we need to stretch that lead. Obviously the biggest chance we've got to do that is the 30th of December. That can make it really interesting and then pull away from there. But yeah, you're not in clear blue water by any stretch.
Yeah. But for you, anxious about it following our result of the weekend?
I wouldn't say anxious. I think that you're getting from Rangers what you've had from them before. That this squad has proven that they'll go on a wee run for a new manager and then make their mind up about him and probably make his life harder. Although I think they've made a good appointment. I think in this manager he's probably somebody who will weed out players like that rather than humour them.
But you won't humour the fans as well.
Well, there is that, but I think whilst they may not be, the best team in the world by any stretch, I think they're better under Clement than they were under Beale. That's just my opinion. So that presents a challenge if we are going to have the standard of performance that we endured on Saturday. The result isn't horrendous, and Aberdeen have done us a turn, or Rangers have failed to capitalise, whatever way you want to look at it. But we could have done ourselves a turn on Saturday and we didn't.
Stretched it, yeah.
That's the thing for me, it was just poor.
Yeah, Paddy, we've mentioned the AGM there, and is it good enough? And I know the answer, but is it good enough to have a strategy that is just rely on them being rotten?
Well, yeah, you know the answer. Of course, it's not. I think that we've watched this kind of unfold for the last 10 years, 11 years since their demise, and I think that we had reason to kind of sit and let that be the case for maybe 2 or 3 years, 4 or 5, until obviously the semi-final under Dyler, and that point it was more just like kick on, like flex the muscle a little bit and get ahead of them again. We've done that season upon season upon season until we get bloated. Our squad got bloated. We lost a good manager, and we didn't have any direction, and we get caught because they threw everything, including the kitchen sink, to get that league title. In a crazy season, might add. But for me, I'm of the opinion, like domestically, I still feel that this team, our squad, is better than theirs. I'm not of the worry that they're going to come and put in a title challenge against us. I don't see it. I don't think they're a good enough team. I actually listened to what Johnny Hayes had to say about this whole narrative that they try harder. They said, no, Celtic are better. Celtic are better than you guys. That's the difference. They see a match, and they do see a match against Rangers. I think if Aberdeen weren't in group stage football, they would be probably level head with Rangers this season. I really do. I think that would be the case. I think we need this window. I think we need it quickly. I think our starting 11 beats any team that Rangers put out against us, but we can't guarantee having that starting 11.
Yeah, because there's no doubt our squad, you can debate the merits of Celtic's 32-man squad, by the way, but the squad as it is. And on their day, as Paddy rightly says, our 11 is pretty strong, but we don't have our 11 right now. Hatate is part of our 11. Louis Palma suspended for Lazio. He's part of our big 11. Dyson Maeda. There's guys that we can't call upon for different reasons just now. Liam Scales is a bit of an outlier, the fact that he's currently our centre half. So there's a few different things at play, but ultimately, when for whatever reason we don't have our best 11 on the park, we are vulnerable, and you'd say we are there for the taking.
Yes, and listen, isn't any team, most teams would probably be the same. You're starting 11,
Spurs, how bad they're struggling.
You're starting 11, you're starting 11 for a reason, because you're 11 best players. So, I understand that and I get that. I take that into account. I just think for me that result has been coming. There's just a bit of a malaise. I feel around. I just feel like we have got to a certain point as a club and just failed to kick on. The Rodgers appointment for me just gets more bizarre by the passing month, when you think, why is he come back for this?
Yep.
I don't care what he says at the AGM, because that will just be party line. What must he be thinking privately? I would love to know.
Do you think he's thinking the same? Because I do. I really do.
It must be sitting like that.
What's going on?
But someone straight lied to him in terms of what they were going to, how they were going to perform.
You can always turn around at the end of a window and say, we tried to get that guy, we tried our best, they were playing hardball with the figures and stuff. Yeah, there might be some of that. What you are getting from Brendan Rodgers, he's very much toeing the company line. He has to. What's the alternative? Call your chief exec something.
He's very well paid to do so.
Yeah, exactly that. It kind of ties in to an extent, or maybe it does, maybe it doesn't actually, with another bigger picture. Miff mentioned the malaise, and we've got this ongoing situation with the Green Brigade that they're certainly not at Celtic Park at this moment in time, or at least inside Celtic Park. They were very much outside on Saturday and letting their voices be heard. Is it making a difference? Are the Green Brigade going to roar you on to victory against Motherwell at the end of November? Is that going to have an impact? Is it having a bearing on what the players feel and what they bring to the party? And does it tie into the malaise? If things aren't right between fans and Celtic, whether it's a fans group like the Green Brigade or otherwise, it's just not a great vibe. And divided, you're always far worse off than United.
I mean, it's a elongated discussion, I suppose, or it's an in-depth discussion. You really get into to cover it all. I think the positives are, obviously, they can add to the atmosphere. I think the negatives are that makes it fans just sit and wait for that to start, and they don't take the initiative to do that, as has happened since I started going to Celtic games a long time ago. And you can say chicken egg, which came first. Was it the poor atmosphere that necessitated the Jungle Boys, or it wasn't then the Green Brigade and the boys and all these kind of things? So that is part of the positive. But until fans groups are going to police better and behave better, we've all been to away games, we've all been to Europe away. It's not on, and to go on to some podcasts and just act like a Wayne and just not really address the issues. For me, I think it's mystery option C. It's not in or out. I think it is, we want a fans group in the ground. I just don't think it can be them.
Well, that's an interesting point. I mean, we were chatting earlier on in our group, and I just think I don't see a resolve anytime soon with it. It seems that the Green Brigade are adamant they've not done anything wrong. The club are adamant they have. And unless somebody bends on that, then the status quo will remain, and they'll remain outside the ground.
Yeah, I think there's, like there always is in these situations, there'll be two extreme viewpoints, and the truth will invariably somewhere in the middle. I don't think the Green Brigade are completely innocent of all charges levelled against them, but at the same time it feels like there's been a bit of opportunism around levelling charges at them, but potentially controlling a certain situation which might explode into something more. So I think the team do suffer as a result from it, and the quicker that things are resolved, the better for everyone. We mention it regularly when we speak about the 2 years of Ange that we had. The club, for the first time in a long time, felt completely united, including the fans, even though there would be the odd flare-up about behaviour and things like that, and the odd charge for a banner or whatever it might be. But on the whole, the club from top to bottom was in unison. It isn't anymore. No,
it definitely isn't. Brendan Rodgers was asked, I don't know if it was just today as he was travelling out, but he was asked specifically about the atmosphere and if he felt it was a bit flat, and he conceded, Paddy, that it was. But again, I don't know if he's told the party line, but he said it's up to the players to generate something on the park that the fans can respond to. That there's not a lot of excitement happening on the park just now, and maybe there's something to that.
Well, the fans waited until probably about 15 minutes to go to really start roaring the team on. I think there was that assumption that we would score and we would get our goal, but as Motherwell continued to waste time, as a few decisions didn't go for us, as you could see, the players were really trying. And I thought the subs, to be fair, you talk about Johnson, people were on Johnson's back as soon as he came on. He was actually trying to beat somebody. You need to give him credit for that. Yep. And they were trying to make things happen. They were putting some balls in the box, and the fans started to get just a bit of a roar. A few songs broke out, but it took until 15 minutes when it was really getting quite desperate, was when the volume went up. And listen, include myself in that. A couple of times, individual people maybe broke into song. I did so myself as well, but there's some silence running about, and it's like me when I'm in the woodcutter on a Sunday night. Start singing and folk just turn around and look at you.
It's entertaining.
So I think if people want there to be an atmosphere, everybody's got a bit of responsibility to back that up. You can't just rely on a fan group to tell you what to sing. You go to the football surely to have a wee sing song and support the team.
Did you start Robbie Williams' Angels in the stand that didn't take off?
No,
Red lights, spells danger.
No. Well, that's a different story. Anyway, moving on.
What you do have though is the Green Brigade have been part of Celtic's fan base for around about 16 years, something like that, and they have set the wheels in motion for all the tunes during those times. So what you've got now is a fan base who aren't used to starting the chants. That's
you've got a generation of fans that aren't used to it. And to be fair, most of it comes from Young Toy. It's when we were young,
Young Toy.
Yeah. Dad.
Do you honestly think
that kids?
Do you think that lasts long though? Like, what I meaning by that is that there is a there is a view on it just now that we're expecting the atmosphere to increase and improve if the Green Brigade are there. If there was a solution to the matter, and whether that solution be that they come back into the stands, which we want a full stadium. Doesn't matter who's there. We're all Celtic supporters at the end of the day. Or if they were told, no, that's it, it's done, and season tickets are cancelled, but these seats are filled in again, that someone picks it up. You know, I don't think it's we need to wait on this group to come back in. I think I get what you guys are saying. It's different, but I just think it's because there's not an answer to the situation. It's ongoing. And the only way you get an answer is if they sit down the table and want to talk about that. And from what I've read and from what I've heard, is that Celtic have reluctantly wanted to do that and eventually have done it. But again, drag their heels over anything, including signing players.
Well, that's a different matter. But yeah, you're right. I think the chat is that Celtic reluctantly, as Paddy said, agreed to get round the table just in time to stop the Green Brigade's day of action. I don't know what the day of action was going to look like.
Annoyed Rod Stewart.
I don't know if there was any plan, if there was something more aggressive or controversial planned. I really don't know, so it wouldn't be fair to speculate too much. But what's ended up happening is the Green Brigade have had their welcome the team up the Celtic way, very positive, very noisy, very, very colourful type thing. And they've agreed to do so because they've had the meeting has been agreed in the background. I don't know what's going on at the meeting. I don't know what they've proposed at the meeting. You know, have the Green Brigade had to come and put their paws up and say, yeah, do you know what, we did get some things wrong and we could have policed better and there were some incidents with breaking down fire doors and stairs. I really don't know. And I don't suppose any of us will ever find out. That's up to them to resolve behind closed doors. But as I said at the top there, something needs to give. Mm-hmm. And I think you've got two very stubborn groups there.
The stewarding around that area is pretty hefty.
Mm-hmm.
It is pretty hefty, you know, so I've seen that, the amount of checks, and sometimes you can't pass through the section that I'm in to go through to where the
home games,
where the north curve entrance is. So I would, it's human nature, if you feel like you're being sort of picked upon, you rally back against it, don't you? Especially the psyche of the Celtic fan. So I think there's probably that this isn't a new thing. It's something that's been ongoing for a long time between the club and the group themselves. But why do the group exist? To support Celtic, you know. So surely I would imagine, regardless of how annoyed they may be, surely that's what they want to get back to. I would assume. And as far as the Celtic board are concerned, no one can say we're better off without them. So we, you know, resolve it quickly and put Celtic back to be the most important thing.
It's not even just the heavy presence of stewards or policing around that whole area. You've got a CCTV unit across from that stand as well. And there's one guy that's orchestrating the use of that, because apparently there's a lot of stories that there's the dawn raids that were kind of happening maybe about 5 or 6 years ago.
Did you get rumbled?
Say again?
Did you get rumbled?
I was fine. I move about, you know.
I know, man.
I mean, that's
safe.
But just stuff like that. Like, let the people go to the football and support Celtic.
Guys were getting stopped at the airport, come back for holidays with their families and getting lifted there and then. That was a whole disgrace, the whole thing. And I'll never not be fully in support of that getting binned, you know.
Exactly. Listen, it's definitely both sides need to get the finger out and sort it out 100%. Yeah. But some of the actions from our club, employees of our club, are deplorable as well.
Mm-hmm. So what you've got though is a situation that's, I think a lot of folk have become quite fatigued with it. It's been rumbling on in the background time, with no sign of a solution one way or another. So hopefully something can be found.
Tino's word of the week:
fatigued. It's decent.
Fatigue.
Let's get back to some of the stuff on the pitch before we move on completely to other matters. We've seen an unexpected debut from young Irish winner Mark O'Tilio. He came off the bench. If it wasn't long, I think he came on in the 94th minute, but what do you think?
He ran down the wing, put a ball in the box. He'll do for me.
What I'm crying out for.
He did. That's literally what he did. He got the ball, ran down the wing, stuck it in the box.
100%.
Fantastic.
It's for Motherwell.
Fantastic.
It's a tough one, but we've talked about Mikey Johnson. It's a tough one. Mikey Johnson's been thrown in when Celtic need a goal. Celtic haven't said, we'll start Mikey Johnson, you know, against Motherwell and find his way in. They've basically said, geez, we need a goal. Right, go and do something, winger guy. And they've kind of done the same with Mark O'Tilio there at the weekend. It's not an ideal way to give him his debut, but I suppose in a positive way, it's good to see that the man exists, isn't it?
That is it. And you know, he came with decent fanfare, so he probably wouldn't have got on at all if Yang hadn't picked up a knock kind of thing. But he's obviously in a position, his fitness is to the point where he can get some game time. So if we can just keep that going and keep him on a path, because we really need cover there now. I mean, you could be looking at, strange as it sounds, Johnson goes and plays well on Tuesday night, and then just for whatever reason we've got Tillio and Johnson starting next weekend. Could be fun.
The dream team. Cannot wait. No, it's good to see him get his debut. I hope he's finding his feet and getting fit. He showed flashes, didn't he? Obviously, it didn't work out in the day, but he showed flashes. He's certainly confident enough to take the ball. He was quite keen to kind of stand up the left back and show what he's got. So good to see him get game time, and we'll need to see. He's obviously not eligible for Europe, Paddy, which is frustrating, but we'll see where we go. I'm going to go to the mystery cell just shortly, but I can't move on from the weekend without talking about Todd Cantwell's dive.
Wow.
What an absolute
And the
charlatan.
fact that there was no censure on it. You know?
No what?
No censure, no penalising the
No yellow.
act.
No yellow.
But this same referee was pulling, I think, his second yellow at the Hearts player last season for diving.
Yeah, see if you want
You know
to
what I mean?
make the game better, we've spoken about the directive about what is and isn't a yellow card and sportsmanship and time wasting. You must cut that out your game. It's outrageous. I've not seen a dive like it in some time, Paddy.
I mean, like, I was waiting in the four judges standing up with their signs after it, man. It was a joke. Absolute joke. Like,
He's an imposter, isn't he?
do you know, it's quite sad because they're catching on about that
Well,
now. They really are.
They are.
Aye, they're like, who is this kid?
Yeah.
That-
His stats are abysmal, by the way.
He's
You know,
crap.
his contributions.
That union of club and player is just perfect. Pun intended.
Badge kisser.
Yeah.
Well
But I think, to Paddy's point, I think that union's starting to separate.
Oh, honestly, you want to see some of the forum entries. I think it's at Free Rockets International.
Oh, did he have a? Oh, has he had? All right.
Aye, have a
That's
gander.
my- that's
Have
my
a
next-
gander
that's my
after.
next-
But aye.
Yeah, that man should be awarded
United.
some. I was going to say United, but probably wouldn't want it.
He knocked
But he should be given some form of award for his services. He is outstanding.
They're turning against him.
But that's the thing. He's there to try and drag them up and get something. You know, he had the number 56 in his shots at the start of the season. All that. All right, do what you want to do, but you need to bring something on the park on a Saturday. And what he does more often than not is he gets his start and gets whipped off.
Yeah.
And that's it, job done. I just thought that the crassness of him to make his dive and stick his left foot into the number 7,
Aye.
is it Jamie McGrath? He's tried all ends up. Do you know, I don't know if I'm getting all paranoid. I've been paranoid for a long time, in fact, so I'll just continue in that vein. But I'm watching
Go on,
sports
Tino.
scene.
Go
right?
on, he's snapped. He's gone.
There we go.
But I'm watching the highlights.
Uncensored.
years for this.
Watching the highlights on sports scene, I'm thinking, I wonder what they'll say about Cantwell's dive. Didn't even show it.
Of course they did.
And I'm thinking, hold on a minute, it was a notable incident in the game. I know there was other things and sendings off and VAR stuff and what there was no sendings off, calm down, but there was penalties. But surely you've got to highlight that. It was a notable incident in the game. Who's deciding that?
see, I think
I
it's-
want names,
it's
James.
Neil McCann.
Who's
It was McCann in the studio.
Get the rule book.
No, it was
see,
Kenny
see, the
Miller
thing is,
and-
Off.
see if you look at
Bill's Truth.
the Ross McCausland the week before, getting a penalty for absolutely nothing, or 2 weeks before, sorry, penalty for absolutely nothing. The reason he's making that dive is saying, I can maybe get a penalty for this,
Aye.
no matter how ridiculous it is.
Who was it when that, like, they were doing the highlight reel for that, and basically I've seen them given
What?
for Rangers. It's a shambles, man.
Or against us.
Aye. Wild.
Who said they've seen them given?
I can't remember. I think it might have been McCann easily. Honestly,
Blame
The
Richard
Cantwell
Foster.
one?
He's good
no,
for some
no,
of
no,
that.
no, no.
Oh, the
Is it?
McCausland one?
Just get this
It
guy.
was Kenny Miller.
Kenny Miller.
It's Kenny Miller.
Kenny
Ridiculous.
Anyway, I just couldn't let it pass without
Oh, well
highlighting
said,
that.
mate.
An absolute imposter. Anyway, we'll
Difficult
do the
showing
mystery
that.
cell. If you missed it last week, obviously we've tried different bits of trivia, but we've returned to this one because this is the one that I'm best at and use our worst at, really.
Give us a chance.
So let's have a go. Miff, did you get it last week?
You know I don't listen when I'm not on.
The Eagle.
What an ego.
I just don't listen.
You're in the
Aye.
Todd Cantwell school of egotism. Okay, we'll go for this week. So clue number 1, are you ready?
No graphic, no.
No, you don't need a graphic, it's 3 clues.
Bloody hell.
It's changed, mate.
You want to see the words in front of your eyes? Clue number 1. I scored in my Celtic debut. Anyone jumping out?
Good a day.
Raman Vega.
Barry Robson.
All are correct, but they're not the answer to this one. Clue number 2. As well as in my home country, I've played in Spain, Germany and England.
As well as my home country, which is Scotland, by the way. Like Spain, Germany, England.
It might be Scotland, it might not. And clue number 3. I'm still playing and I play for Minnesota United in the MLS. Anyone
Lewis
jumping
Morgan?
out?
No, he didn't score his debut.
So have a wee think for now, and as always, we'll reveal the answer before the end of the show. I want to go back to a favourite topic of everybody's, so it's VAR, and obviously there was some kind of key VAR decisions given over the weekend. Just want to ask directly, James, and I know you've got strong feelings on it, but nowadays is every single jersey pull in the box just a guaranteed penalty? Is that just the way the game's gone?
You know, we've moved. We don't know what an offside is. We don't know what a penalty is. You know, these things that were really clear for most of your football supporting career. Because we've obviously seen Ross County, 3 opportunities to give us penalties, not taken, and in the same weekend Rangers got a penalty for nothing. I would say Mikey Johnson's something fairly similar to Goldson's, that there is a pull on Goldson, there is a pull on Mikey. So I think a pull on a jersey in the box is the height of stupidity in this day and age when there's cameras showing on it. It's not like, see if you get blindsided the ref and you can go, I can get away with this one. The camera's seeing it. My question would be, what has Andrew Dallas seen for Goldson that he didn't see? He was VAR for Celtic Ross County. Same guy, same process. Why is he not seeing the Ross County ones and he's seen the Rangers ones? It's consistency and it's transparency. That's what we're missing. We've spoken a few times about putting the audio out, you know, and you could argue, oh, we'll just release it after, but you wouldn't trust them to not manipulate it. The live audio has to be going out somewhere to let us really hear what's going on.
We've seen some examples in the last few weeks from the English Premier League.
But even the Scottish one, just here's the least worst ones we've got, you know.
True, but at least you're hearing that there's something going on. There's a discussion
It's
where you
cherry
can,
picking.
but you can try and get yourself in the headspace of the VAR officials. Say, right, I can see where he's coming from. He's trying to get this angle. He's trying to get that.
I could with English ones.
That's what I'm talking about. So you're not getting that from the Scottish ones. They marked their own homework last week, didn't they? So they've done a wee bit of. We've got some folk in to have a look. It's just my mates, but they've had a look anyway. And was it something like 275 VAR decisions have been made since VAR was introduced?
They didn't say how many VAR decisions they missed and not reviewed. They just said of the ones we have reviewed,
only 3 are wrong.
These were right and these were wrong. Aye.
Yeah.
It was over 400.
Over 400, and only 3 are wrong. That's decent.
It makes it sound as if it's perfect.
So we've got the best VAR in the continent.
The world. Yeah.
We're absolutely flying there. So we'll move on then. It seems that we've got VAR all sewn up, so that's fine.
Always check what question they're asking themselves.
Yeah, true. My biggest gripe actually is I don't think Connor Goldson's is a penalty, and I don't think Mikey Johnson's is a penalty. I
disagree.
I'll just give me a second. You see that? I wish everyone could see the video, but see just something like this. It's not.
I disagree. I think it's stupid. It's given the opportunity to give the penalty.
It is stupid, but is it
Just don't pull his
the guy
jersey.
getting to it?
Just don't pull his jersey.
It's part of football.
It's,
That goes
it's,
on.
it's
I
not
don't
letting
agree.
him run his flow.
I don't agree.
It's
I don't
illegally breaking the player's flow.
I don't
What
think
was less
any
a
two should be
penalty
given.
was the one against Hearts was less a penalty than the one against Aberdeen for me,
For
because
Forest.
that was minuscule.
Both
However,
those penalties have got blocking involved as well, which is a tactic.
Yes. However, all that aside, mental that you would do that in the last minute game. Absolutely mental.
Yeah.
Now, for the Motherwell player, it's even more mental because Johnson's not getting to the ball.
Yeah.
You just don't need to worry about that.
He doesn't know that.
It was
It's instinctive.
Yeah.
I mean, guys from Motherwell are clever. So you would think with that, it's just you're just giving the ref the opportunity to give the penalty. And by the way, Mikey Johnson would make an excellent cricket player because his appeal got that reviewed.
Yeah. I don't know if they were reviewing it without that.
But he was getting at the old come on, sir.
Why should he have to ask? Is that not what VAR's for?
Well, again, he made enough of a stushy about it that they reviewed it. But my point being, it's brainless for the defenders. I think both are penalties to be perfectly honest.
So I think Barry Robson's come out post game, clearly very upset and annoyed, but ultimately,
What a guy! I love him.
Ah, he's brilliant.
yeah,
love
like,
him.
like Basher. But I do agree that he should be most annoyed. Is it Gartman?
Yeah,
Gartman? Because ultimately, whether I'm sure we can all debate whether it was or wasn't. But if he doesn't tug it, there's nothing to worry about.
He get booked as well, by the way.
Yeah, and that was
Which, you know, if you look at it in the grand scheme, the penalty's surely enough punishment there. He's not been in danger in them days. A daft tug.
Precise no foul.
But Mugabe didn't get booked, I don't believe,
oh no,
for his tackle.
yeah, I'm not
That
sure.
was a bad tackle, by the
No,
way.
but he's ready to put the ball in the net. He's half a yard away for the goals and he's 2 foot up.
It all comes
And
back.
he never even get booked.
The rule is, I think as well, if like obviously
Genuine
go back to
attempt.
that new last man, if it's a
But
genuine
he
attempt, I
two-footed
know.
him. Well, no, it was a genuine attempt
For the
to
ball.
clear the ball and break his leg.
Aye,
So-
it's endangered the player.
Oh.
But what you're getting overall is just this inconsistency across
Yeah.
the board, and it's really frustrating. I detest VAR. and what it's done to football. There's so many things. I watched a bit of the
He's on man the night,
match of the day on Saturday night, and I seen what do you call him, Sterling, that's playing at Chelsea, and who were they playing? Newcastle. So Sterling's running towards the box, and I think it's Kieran Trippier has literally put his hand on his shoulder. He's chasing back, he's put his hand, he's not pushed him, he's not elbowed, he's put his hand, and Sterling feels contact and goes down, wins a free kick in the edge of the box, converts the free kick, and it's a goal. And it was just disgusting to get a free kick for it. It was absolutely nothing, and the game is complete. Football is, last I was aware, a contact sport, and now it's getting so removed for that. And I understand, cut out thuggery, cut out endangering players and stuff like that. But if a wee tug of a jersey or a wee hand on a back results in free kicks and things like that, I can't get on board with that.
That's Connor Goldson's signature move. Anytime he's under any pressure, slightest contact, he's down, and the refs give him it every single time, and it's never ever a foul.
However, what was very amusing, I only
When he elbowed the guy.
I only seen the last seconds of the game, so I turned it on as Tavernier was stepping up to take the penalty, and I went, far, the most familiar sight in Scottish football of an Ian Crocker stat of his 12 goals against Aberdeen, 10 have been penalties. I was like, that's just mental. That's mental.
He scored in the last 6 games, 5 have been penalties.
That's mental, right? So what I found right amusing was Goldson has obviously made absolutely the most of the shot pull to get the penalty. He's thrown himself down to the ground. The big Aberdeen centre-half has just done the exact same thing to him when Rangers were putting a bit of pressure on. Ball got launched to the box, the big centre-half just like nothing happened, and he's just went dumph. And the free kick he gave again, and Goldson went mental, he went absolutely mental. But he's just had done to him.
The one where Goldson get booked? That's when you're
Oh, no.
Don't think
That
so.
was the elbow.
Right at the end.
Aye, so Goldson get booked after the penalty.
Was it right at the end? I didn't see if he'd get
I think
booked.
it was in between those two.
He get booked. Well, whatever
He
free
wouldn't
kick
get
he gave
booked
it
for
was
that.
some.
The thing is, though, Goldson's got the audacity to complain about
Exactly.
anyone going down in any way, shape
That's
or
what I
form.
mean. Somebody had done to him what he'd done to them. Just very minimal contact. Like you say, as soon as he's under pressure, he gets away with it every single time.
But this is the culture. They think the rules should be applied differently for us than it is for other teams. That's just they've got the confidence of that.
There was a rich irony.
I don't want him to leave at all.
No, Haddy.
This guy needs to be part of their team.
Yeah.
He's
Goldson must
rotten.
stay.
He's
How is he?
rotten.
And
Is
they
he talking about
they know
leaving?
they're
No, they want rid of him. No. The fans want
Do they?
him.
Yeah.
Aye, the
Yeah, they
fans
know.
want rid of him.
And Tavernier.
Aye.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll move on, but VAR, I think we're all pretty scunnered about in various ways, shapes and
It's
forms.
not going anywhere. But
Just
It's
improve it.
Yeah.
And it's not hard to improve it.
It seems like it's getting worse rather than improving. But anyway, I'll move on to more positive news. You lads might have seen the video. I thought it was really heartwarming. Scottish Cup last night. Celtic get drawn to play Buckie Thistle in the 4th round. That game will be on around the 20th of January. And you can now see a clip of the Buckie Thistle players, and they're all just kids. They're young guys, early 20s, absolutely buzzing at coming to Celtic Park. A lot of them will be Celtic fans, delighted at the chance. A lot of Rangers fans, delighted at the chance to go and potentially get one over on us. But real big buzz for them. They're a team for the Highland League. Obviously, we don't know too much about them. But Miff, what can you tell us about their recent form?
Very, very little. Did they not play in green and white?
Yeah.
That's about all I can tell you. And I like Buckie.
Their manager is former Inverness Cali player Graham Stewart. He was a kid at Cali Thistle when they Super Cali, all that nonsense.
The papers won't make much of a deal out of that in January. eh?
No. And his
It's like
father-in-law,
clockwork.
his father-in-law is Jimmy Nichol. So
oh my God.
we're in for a double whammy. But I was pleased to see it. It's kind of, you hear the cliche about the romance of the Scottish Cup, but for them, Paddy, that's a dream for a club like that.
The last team that celebrated getting Celtic in the cup found out what happened, so I wouldn't be doing that.
Remember?
Be careful what you wish for,
Be
lads.
careful what you wish for. No,
They're in for the occasion,
absolutely brilliant for them. They're always just one of those teams you just keep an eye on, just generally for the name. and the green and white hoops, good on them. I think it'll be an incredible experience for them. I really do. But they done well. Was it Broxburn they beat?
Yeah.
They done well against them. I watched the highlights and
Did you?
I did.
What did you
That
get?
is
Sports
devotion.
scene.
Oh, did they show that?
And not sports sound, sports scene this
So
time.
enemy
Moving on.
BBC basically,
Enemy
that's your
BBC.
thing, aye.
Kenny
Aye.
McIntyre's my pal. Not. But it was just, it's the magic of the cup, as they say. So well done to them.
Yeah, pleased for them. It's a big draw. So on or around 20th of January, we'll see how it goes. As mentioned, James and I have already done a more in-depth pre-match for the Lazio game. So it's a 5:45 kick-off on Tuesday night. But Miff, your own general thoughts ahead of this one?
I'm still scunnered for Saturday, if I'm being honest. I'm finding it hard to raise myself after that. But what does encourage me is the general performances in Europe have been good. To be fair, I know Atletico away you can put to one side. As soon as Maeda's sent off, it puts paid to any sort of plans or tactics. So taking that out and looking at the rest of the general performances have been good, but ultimately I think it's that Lazio home game that's got to come back and cost us, really. You know, we should have won it, never mind hold on for a draw. We've come away with nothing, and yeah, we're in a really tight spot. So fingers crossed. I think we'll go. I think we'll show up. I think we'll give a good account of ourselves, but whether it's enough, I mean, Lazio aren't exactly playing great just now, so hopefully we can capitalise on that. Hopefully.
Yeah, I've mentioned a bad weekend for us, Paddy, and Miff's obviously still struggling with it, but Lazio themselves, they lost to bottom placed Salernitana. They get beat 2-1 at the weekend, and they've actually lost 2 and drawn 1 of their last 3 league games.
I seen that. I don't know if they were thinking about Tuesday themselves. I think that they're in a very, very strong position to get out this group, and I think Sarri's someone that will just want them to go and really, really attempt to do that.
Really interesting with Sarri. He seems to be just quite a really, you know, a character causes a bit of volatility wherever he goes. You know, it's quite abrasive, isn't he? And it seems odd that in that group he's doing well, but yet in Serie A he's doing so poorly. They seem to be at odds with a lot of the players and things like that. It's just a strange dynamic.
Have you ever seen Gomorrah? The Italian, watch it, absolutely brilliant TV.
All the boys watch it.
There's 2 characters in it, right? One is like, I can't remember his name, but he's the double of Sarri, and he's like almost his protege, but turns into his rival. Is a guy that looks like the double of Pep. Aye, good programme, but he's probably connected somehow. He's our Sarri.
We've gone a bit off piece there, lads, but
just a bit.
To bring it back to the game, so obviously, I mean, they finished second in Serie A last year, and they're currently labouring around about 11th spot. I mentioned to James in the pre-match earlier that Bologna, Lewis Ferguson's Bologna, beat them 1-0 a couple of weeks ago. He scored the goal, so they're there for the taking, is what you would say, but you wonder how much focus they've placed on League versus Europe at this moment in time. Paddy, you were obviously there the last time Celtic played, so 2019, a 2-1 win for Celtic at the Olympic Stadium. Yeah. James A. Forrest, Miff's favourite, grabbing a great goal that night, and Olivier Ncham in the 95th minute. Just your brief recollections of the game in that moment in particular.
Just bedlam, incredible scenes. I remember just the emotion pouring out. It was a first victory I'd witnessed in the amount of European aways that I've been to. It was just a great moment. And then 10 minutes later, when we're seeing the players off the park, one of the boys remembers that we all stuck money on for Celtic to win at half time. So that was the night paid for as well. A brilliant trip.
Yeah, brilliant. So me and James have put in our scoreline prediction. James has gone 3-2, all action. I've gone 2-0. You lads want to put up a score?
2-0 Celtic,
1-0. 1-0.
3 clean sheets away in Europe.
1-0, yep.
Maddies,
man. As much as we've slated Joe Hart and Greg Taylor earlier on the piece.
Rock solid.
No, I never slated Greg Taylor.
They'll be better for the experience. I
only slated Joe Hart.
Yeah, but huge game. Obviously, there's various permutations that could result in European football after Christmas, but put simply, we need to get a win on Tuesday first and foremost before we look at anything beyond that. Before we finish up and get your final thoughts, let's go back to the mystery cell. On you go, James.
Can I have 2 guesses?
Yeah.
Timo Weah.
No. Timo Weah?
Nah.
John Guidetti. Oh, he didn't like that.
Oh, he's done it. He's done it. Well played.
Calm down, lads. He's not done it.
Oh, isn't that?
Oh, come on, hey.
You're cutting about like Todd Campbell, all cocky, all arrogant and all that
silence.
stuff. High five. I tell you what I'll do. I'll give you a couple of bonus clues. Right? So none of you have landed on it. All your guesses so far, no good. I scored my Celtic debut. That was against Hearts in September 2013, if that helps at all. As well as my home country, I've played in Spain, Germany and England. I'm still playing and play for Minnesota United in the MLS. And you go?
Lassad.
Nope. Damn it. Bonus clue number 4. I played for my country as recently as last week.
Kaya.
In a European game. And final clue.
Timo Pukki.
The very man.
Well done.
Pukki. Yeah.
All you needed, Miff, was
still beat us.
4.5 clues, and you were right there. So, Miff, I'll put it back to you. Any general thoughts on Timo Pukki and his time at Celtic?
It looked like the move was too big for him at the time. You could see there was talent there, but he looked a bit lost. And yeah, he was just a just below the top level striker. As you've seen, he always ripped it up in the chat. He had one good season in the Premiership, I think. Other than that, small returns and goals, worked really hard. You know, just not the quality that you needed to be a Celtic striker.
Yeah, popular player at Norwich, 118 caps at last count. He played against San Marino last Monday night, I think. 118 caps for Finland. He's been a good player for Norwich. I think he's very well thought of there. I've got a real issue with him because post-Celtic career at some point, maybe 5 years or so ago, he basically said he didn't bother at Celtic. He said, I should have tried harder. I didn't work hard enough. I wasn't that fussed at the time or something. And I suppose just as a Celtic fan, it just grates on you that somebody had an opportunity to pull on the shirt and didn't really bother about it. You know, he might have been young, he might have stuff going on. I don't really know, but I remember that sticking in my throat, Paddy.
It would have been a different culture with the manager he signed for. And I think actually I would have liked to have seen him under Ange.
Well, we'll never know. But
We'll never know.
So Mystery Cert this week, Timo Pukki. Well done to Miff for getting that one right. James, your final comments for the week.
Big week. Big week. You know, it's sink or swim. So we've got to go in it tomorrow night. Just go for it.
Sink or sink.
Sink or tread and then sink. Just I think I saw somebody saying earlier on, just please score more goals than we get red cards, please. Thank you.
Aye, that'd be a bonus. Paddy, your own final thoughts?
Aye, similar to James. I think I've just got a feeling that he's got something up his sleeve tomorrow for us, and I think that the fans deserve it after this group. I think we've had too many nearly performances, but we've went toe to toe. We have, and I think that the performance against Atletico, if we played at that same level, we would have scored more against Lazio. And I generally think that we go there tomorrow with a bit of confidence and just get straight in their faces for the get-go. They'll be nervous tomorrow because they know they've got a great opportunity too, but we could really open this group up if we wanted.
Yeah, there's nothing else for it. We just need to go for it. Miff, final word for the week goes to you.
Still excited with the game despite my hangover for the weekend, and just really hopeful that we would get something from it. I think in general our performances in the Champions League this year have deserved a result.
Yeah.
I think you're right. You say, Paddy, the fans deserve it, so fingers crossed we get something.
Yeah, here's hoping. So that wraps things up on this latest episode of the Celtic Exchange Weekly. Thanks to Paddy, James and Miff for joining me, and of course our thanks to you for tuning in. Don't forget to check out our various matchday episodes this week for the games against Lazio and St Johnstone. But in the meantime, as always, thanks for supporting the Celtic Exchange, and we'll see you again very soon.